First, the wall fall drill.
Alright guys, this is a really simple drill that you can do just about anywhere. This is the wall fall drill. As long as you've got a solid surface, all you're going to need to do this drill, start by coming set as close to the wall as you can. And on leg lift, what we're going to try to isolate is that rear hip and allowing it to advance first down the mount. So as close as we can to the wall, these first few reps are real easy. Just getting used to that initial feel of have a passive front leg where we're not reaching with the leg and contacting the wall first there, and we're not diving down the mound with our shoulders. We want a nice passive leg, hips first, down the mound. As you get more comfortable with that position, you can extend your stance and work to be farther away from the wall. And on leg lift, it takes a little bit more strength, a little bit more balance, a little bit more focus to allow your hips to contact that wall first. We want to avoid having our shoulder contact or our leg reach out and leave contact. Try to find the farthest distance away that you can from the wall so that you can still engage that rear hip and control your fall into the wall.
The second drill we worked on, PVC drives.
Alright, so this next drill that we do came from Brent Pourciau's TopVelocity.net, and it is a hip-shoulder separation drill where your athlete is going to get used to driving with his lower body while resisting that rotation with his top half. You're going to need a PVC pipe about your wingspan, maybe a little under. You're going to rest it on your shoulders. And as you come set, you're loaded on that back hip. You're going to work on a knee up, hip first, drive without a rotation of your top half. Should look something like this. You're going to find your athletes really struggle as they drive with that back leg to not rotate in the same motion. You want to still lead hip first, passive front leg. But you're going to see a lot of athletes do it should look like this on their first rep. They're going to drive and rotate in one motion. They're not used to having to resist that upward body rotation with the lower body drive.
The third drill we worked on, seated leg drives.
Alright guys, this is going to be a rear leg drive drill where all you're going to need is a bucket or a seat, something to sit on, and you're going to want to position that seat far enough away from the rubber so that the athlete is in an engaged power position when they're sitting down. You also want that seat to be low enough that they're going to need to engage their quads as they start to lift and be about 80-20 in weight, driving off that back leg. Once the athlete has engaged that rear leg enough to be stable and off the bucket, you want them to drive, extending ankle, knee, and hip flexors down the mount. You don't want to see your athlete stand all the way up when they start the drive sequence, and you want to make sure that they are stable when they drive so that they're not falling down the mount. So engage the back leg, counter rotate in the knee, quad is engaged, no ball in the first few reps. Working on coming up as much as you can, coming up as little as you can while engaging and driving that back hip.
And the fourth drill that we tried to work with Peyton, delayed trunk drives.
Alright, this next drill is also a rear leg drive drill. And what we're going to work hard to do is drive that lower body while delaying our trunk. Alright, this is another difficult move for a lot of youth players because they're not used to that trunk being behind that hip as it moves down the mount. So if you check out Brent Pourciau's TopVelocity.net, he has a whole series on this move. I'm going to demo two particular moves from his series. Both of these can be done with a medicine ball for your stronger athletes, a basketball for those intermediate, and no weight at all is fine for even those beginner or athletes that are really struggling with the moves. So the first step is going to be getting into a deep lunge. Both our feet are pointing towards the target in this move. Once we have our deep lunge, we're going to go arms overhead. If you have a medicine ball or a basketball, you would lift it over the head. And you're going to walk back loading that back hip, trying to generate rotational force in the back hip, trying to generate as much force in the back hip as you can, to the point where if I lift that front foot, I've engaged the hip, and I want to start moving down the mountain. Arms overhead. You're gonna lift the front foot, be very passive, don't reach with the foot, and allow that rear leg, and rear knee, hip, and ankle flexors to drive us forward, delaying our trunk. You're gonna notice a lot of the times, the first time the player does this, they're gonna move in almost a jumping mechanism. Their chest and their knee are gonna move as one, as opposed to being able to allow those hips to advance and delay the trunk. Deep lunge, overhead, walk it back, feel the weight. Drive and lay back. Transition this into having that back foot parallel to the rubber into more of a rotated, engaged hip. Really allow your trunk to lay back and exaggerate the move as you advance your hips down the mound and delay that trunk.
Each of these drills is going to help us isolate that lower leg drive while delaying top half rotation and allowing our hips to progress first down the mountain.